Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's pretty.
I just had a lovely conversation with a moron on a bicycle on the sidewalk. And apparently, well, I live right over here, is his reason for riding a bicycle on the sidewalk. It doesn't matter. It's dangerous, it's illegal. Guy in critical condition, right here on 8th Avenue, blocks away. Nobody cares. Just cares about his own convenience. Back on the High Line right now, where it is expected to rain pretty soon. So today's episode of Charles Ortel is closing in. Not only will be taking place in the First Amendment Forum, it's going to be indoors. So if you're not already a sponsor of Crowdsource the Truth, please take the next 90 minutes to find your way over to subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth and become a sponsor. You'll be able to enjoy the First Amendment Forum edition of Charles Ortel is closing in. We're going to be talking about all kinds of important stuff today. Obviously, despite Dick Cheney stumping for her, Vagina Cheney lost. And I made a mistake yesterday. Obviously, Nadler is a Democrat. I didn't mean to say that he was a Republican. That was a mistake. He's obviously an idiot. People can watch this portion of the show on Telegram, on Rumble. I've mentioned that I don't trust Rumble. They're merging with Cantor Fitzgerald. Cantor Fitzgerald's CEO was the only guy not in their office on September 11th. Lived on the same block, I think right next door to Jeffrey Epstein. All of this is coincidental. I'm not accusing him of anything. But I don't trust Rumble. They love to feature Alan Dershowitz. Why? David Freiheit, very big on Rumble, who also likes to support and promote Alan Dershowitz. I don't trust these guys. But you can watch on Rumble, you can watch on Odyssey. It's interesting. The other thing that I don't trust about Rumble is that stupid Mario Luigi, he's gone underground, which is, he does that every now and then, usually when he's working on his next legal monstrosity. I should say illegal. But it's been more than 2 weeks, and that dope has gone silent. If people are wondering what I'm talking about, you get onto Subscribestar and Patreon and check out the Counter Lawfare Fund. I talk about, the Counter Lawfare Report, talking all about the stupid Mario brothers and their social engineering campaign to destroy Crowdsource the Truth. Thanks again to the sponsors of the show who have prevented that from happening. Wouldn't be able to do it without you. But yeah, we're going to be talking about, obviously, the ongoing silence from the DOJ with regard to the raid of Mar-a-Lago. We'll get Charles's input on that. We're going to talk about how stupid Joe Biden is, back from vacation, signing maybe the worst legislation in the history of the country. I mean, we've got 87,000 new IRS agents coming in. Doesn't seem like the biggest problem. The New York Times had a report that there's like billions of dollars in COVID fraud. Maybe these IRS agents will go after that, but I don't think they said that. Because if they were interested in billions of dollars worth of fraud, they could go after that with the existing IRS, just going after the Clinton Foundation, the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. They should be investigated for sure. Hi. Guy seemed very curious. But, yeah, stupid Mario brothers. Luigi's gone completely silent. Some postcards were sent that there's going to be a new lawsuit, so your sponsorship is greatly appreciated in fighting that. But this is kind of like the longest reprieve since COVID started. You know, all the courts shut down and they kind of didn't know what to do in that moment. My perception, at least. And I think that might be happening again now. I think some of these things that are coming at Crowdsource the Truth are coordinated with these larger efforts. Another one of the things that causes me to believe they're connected, it really feels like this raid of Mar-a-Lago wasn't that well thought through. You know, they've said that they're not going to release the affidavit. There's a hearing tomorrow, and yesterday I mistakenly contemplated trying to go to D.C., but obviously this hearing is going to be in Florida, I would presume. Is it with the same magistrate? I still don't fully understand how a magistrate gets involved in presiding over a case before a judge is assigned. Wow. Is that a murder hornet? Just a giant bee. Oops. Let's see if we can see that guy. It's like nature photography all of a sudden. How close can we get? That's a huge bee. Doing its thing. Yeah, so anyway, lots to discuss. Don't get me wrong, I'm delighted that the stupid Mario brother is dormant. It's just unusual. Causes me to wonder what he's up to. Maybe he got monkeypox from too much analingus. Newspaper tells us that's a risk. Maybe don't do that. But yeah, Charles will be joining me. We will be in the studio. It looks like the vessel is still out of business. Nobody walking on there. Normally those stairwells, you know, you see people busily climbing. But who knows? It's broken in some fashion. But yeah, I definitely think it's going to rain. That's been predicted. No point in walking around in the rain. So just wanted to give everybody a little taste of what's going on outside here before I return and continue the show with Charles. So I want to ask Charles a couple of questions. You know, we had a great episode of Backstory with Lee Stranahan yesterday. Had a wonderful lawyer on there, Reese Everson, I think her last name was. And it was interesting because, you know, she was strictly talking about the case from a legal standpoint, and I got the impression that she was a Trump supporter, and I asked her, as a black Trump supporter, if she's gotten any pushback, and she said she's not a Trump supporter. And I said, well, that's interesting, but you're defending him, and she said she's defending the law and the Constitution and what's right. And I thought that was an even better answer than being a Trump supporter, because that's what we're talking about. It's got nothing to do with whether you like the guy or not. It's got to do with whether you want the rights you're granted and guaranteed by the Constitution, or you want to get on board with the team that's destroying them, which, by the way, includes the stupid Mario brothers. They are anti-constitutional, un-American scumbags who want to suppress my First Amendment rights, deny you the freedom to listen to information that you might want to listen to so that you can form your own opinion about whether it makes sense or not. They don't want you to have that opportunity. They don't want me to be able to access the courts. Evidence indicates, it's likely to prove, in my opinion, that those guys conspired with an employee of the court to forge documents. I spoke all about this on the Counter Lawfare Report. But I mean, this is an evolving issue. I've submitted a motion for reconsideration in Goodman v. Sharp. That's the case where I personally sued the CEO of NATAS, the Academy of Television Arts and Sciences, their lawyers, and presented evidence that each of them broke the law. The court didn't deny the validity of the evidence. In fact, I presented evidence. Their lawyer forged my signature on a document. It's a breach of Bar Association ethics. It's a violation of the law. Angry lobster rolls. Once you get, why so angry? But they basically said, oh, Jason doesn't understand how to do a Rule 11 sanctions motion. You got to send a safe harbor letter to the party that you're attempting to sanction and give them 21 days to rectify the problem. But once you've committed a crime, that is forging my signature and submitting it to the court in an effort to gain an advantage, even though you're a licensed attorney and I'm a pro se, how do you rectify that? You can't. So clearly, the judge taking no action whatsoever to discipline a lawyer who's willing to break the law, that's strange. So I asked them to reconsider that. Haven't done any counter lawfare reports about this, but I could if it's of interest to people. I do plan to do a big counter lawfare report on the Emmys and everything eventually. I like lobster too, king of women. But why is it angry? Yeah, my signature was forged, DJ. I mean, it's a brazen defiance of the law, and the judge just said, nah, well, you didn't send a safe harbor letter, so that's it. Here's new socks, if anybody needs them. My motion for reconsideration basically said, look, the Supreme Court has determined that courts are supposed to liberally interpret pro se pleadings, and, that's intended to mean that the court must intuit the most appropriate cause of action based on the allegations, not throw away valid allegations due to a defective pleading by a pro se. But the judge didn't do that. So now I'm asking the same judge to reconsider her faulty order. A judge that has demonstrated so much animosity towards me, it's impossible to deny. We'll see what happens. But there's a ton of other legal stuff that I still have to do. Even though most of these cases have gone away, there remain, I guess, 3 out of 7 lawsuits remain. Still have Robert David Stupid's ex-wife taking up his stupid fake lawsuit that's been sitting there for a while. Really brazen, exactly. Hello, Gainesville, Florida. I had a friend in college from Gainesville, Florida. I haven't spoken to that guy in a long, long time. He used to tell me that they would pick cybacillic mushrooms out of cow patties in Gainesville, Florida. So, good doing that if you want. Yeah, and I mean, look, Joe Biden has signed this ridiculous Inflation Reduction Act, and he even in his own speech said that this is the most important climate legislation maybe ever. I forget exactly what he said, but how is that going to reduce inflation? Everybody says it's not. Bloomberg had a story revealing that, oh yeah, this is the monkeypox place where they were vaccinating against monkeypox, the mental hygiene facility. I think that guy might have just left. But Bloomberg has this story. Yeah, see, they're lining up for monkeypox shots, I guess. The Bloomberg story said that Bill Gates has been working on Joe Manchin to get him to, go along with this legislation for a long time. And they even say the secret plan of Bill Gates. Why do we want billionaire monopolists to have secret plans that do stuff to our politicians? Are you guys waiting for monkeypox shots? Just hanging out? Mumbling? There's something going on here with monkeypox, the district health clinic. Notice the address. And it's not vote Aki, it's monkeypox. There's somebody in the truck there. Coming back strong with COVID-19 vaccines. Is that bus vaccinating people? Oh, the other thing. So John Cullen, if people are not subscribed to the John E. Hoover YouTube channel, make your way over there and also subscribe to patreon.com and subscribestar.com/IamJohnCullen. John has conducted an interview with a Pfizer whistleblower. Another electric bike on the sidewalk. Pfizer whistleblower who, she was a contractor to Pfizer that was overseeing some work at a lab, and she describes how a janitor unplugged or turned off the power somehow to a refrigeration unit, causing a certain number of doses of vaccine to drop below the very specific storage temperature. And she goes into some detail as far as, you know, what the implications of that are, what happened to her as a result. Now, what's going on over here? So people are going to want to check that out. See, sometimes just walking around like this is valuable. You happen upon interesting things. What are all those people doing gathering on the corner there? What is this guy doing circling in the crosswalk with babies and strollers? Not really sure what's going on there. And don't much feel like going over there and getting involved in it. Is this Elon Musk? Yeah, so there's been some more news with Elon Musk and Twitter. The judge yesterday said that Twitter has to give Elon Musk, through discovery, certain information about one of their executives who Musk says was involved in figuring out what is spam and what is not, or, you know, bots. And there apparently was a list of employees, and the judge said no to all but one. But some are feeling like that's some kind of a victory for Elon Musk in terms of figuring out what's going on at Twitter. The other thing is, a lot of people feel like Elon Musk liquidated some number of billions of dollars. This is going away, the Dodge Challenger. No more V8s from Dodge, as everybody is forced to buy EVs, even if they don't want them. There's a lot of people who like burning up tires with 800 horsepower V8 engines. I understand how they feel. But anyway, this $6.9 or $7.9 billion worth of Tesla stock that was sold, I read an article that said that it brought Elon Musk's ownership of Tesla down to 14.9%, that he was still the largest single shareholder, but now below 15%. And then Charles told me something about that owning 15% of the stock did something from an SEC standpoint or a legal standpoint, whatever. That's what I mean. There's always a lot of complicated aspects to some of these things that if you're not an expert, you don't know. And if you are an expert and don't know that Elon Musk sold down to 14.9%, you might not be able to put puzzle pieces together in the way that a crowdsourcing effort would. Like, somebody sends me an article about Elon Musk selling shares, and I might not have seen that if they hadn't sent it. And I tell Charles, and he tells me that, and we don't really know. We'll figure out what's going on, you know, in October once this Court of Chancery thing starts. I don't know that it even makes sense that, I mean, would Elon Musk just come in there with his own money to make up whatever? Was there a shortfall? I mean, he must have had the money all together if he was gonna, you know, if he made that offer. He can't go start gathering the money now. So I think it might be another reason. And we just don't know. We also don't know what the hell the FBI and the DOJ are doing with whatever information they may have gotten from Mar-a-Lago. It's too bad I can't follow up with those dunces who were, you know, doubting the passport thing. That feels like a huge, big deal to me. Like Trump's lawyers are going to be able to say, hey, any evidence you gathered from this search is inadmissible because you violated Trump's constitutional rights to get it. That's happened in the past. So that guy is going beyond the speed limit for cars, and I'm not in the bike lane right now. I'm in this kind of dead zone right here between the bike lane and the street. Arguably, I should be on the sidewalk, but I mean, that guy on the electric bike going 40 miles an hour is going to hurt somebody wherever he hits them. It's a huge, terrible problem now. But yeah, today's episode of Charles Ortel is Closing In will be taking place in the First Amendment Forum. People will be able to watch on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. I think tomorrow or Friday, the strike will expire, so we'll be back on YouTube this Sunday. But you're helping to fight social engineering every time you become a sponsor on subscribestar.com or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth, because it's sending a message to them. And even if they don't get the message, it's counteracting their effort. Every time they try to strike a YouTube channel, they're trying to take Crowdsource the Truth off of YouTube. And it really is a disservice to the public and the ongoing nature of human knowledge. I saw a story, maybe in the New York Post, some high school in Texas has banned the Diary of Anne Frank. I couldn't quite figure out why. I think she talks about being in love with her neighbor or something. I mean, she's like 14, you know, she's a young girl, and I think part of I don't really remember all the details of that book, but sort of falling in love while hiding from the Nazis, I think, was a component of it. So maybe they talk about stuff that they think is not good for little kids. I don't know, but I read that. And what I'm getting at is removing books. Now, I mean, we get into this gray area when we're talking about books that are telling little kids to do bizarre things, and those are mostly new books. But banning information, I'm generally against. I think we should allow people, and in the age of, in the case of underage people, legal weed. In the case of underage people, we'll let their parents decide, but I don't think banning books or destroying information from the internet is helpful, you know? We've heard a lot about dirty bombs. The FBI was worried about a possible dirty bomb threat or whatever. I mean, it's almost like they have like that refrigerator magnet set where there's a couple words and you can mix them up and make sentences, and they must have several instances of dirty bomb there. And when they go and do their FBI Mad Libs, that's what they're coming up with. Dirty bomb stuff. Yeah, so I mean, you know, it's just weird that Joe Biden and Christopher Wray go on vacation just as this raid happens. They're not presenting us with any information with regard to what they found. I mean, they've had it for a week. If there was something so threatening to national security, it's like, you've got it, come out, have a press conference, tell us what's going to happen. We'll talk to Charles about this, but now is the time for me to go upstairs and get ready for that show. Please tune in on Subscribestar and Patreon, and huge thank you to all of the show sponsors who have kept us on the air. Where's that helicopter? Flew away. But yeah, we'll be back in an hour with Charles live from in the studio. That's got to be a supermodel. Thanks for watching, everybody.